loads to fit in, but let's start at the Club World Cup. Chelsea and Manchester City are both through to the last 16. City have done it with a game to spare, so they've been able to relax a little bit at their base in the US. A man who loves a bit of a relax is our chief correspondent, Kaveh Solhekol, who joins us now. Kaveh, Chelsea and Chelsea and Manchester City, both done it. Has their time at the Club World Cup in the US intensified their decisions or their desire to win it?
Well, Mike, wasn't it Jerry Maguire who famously said, "Show me the money"? And FIFA are certainly showing the clubs who are playing in this tournament the money, because there is $1 billion prize pot up for grabs. And some of these clubs have already made a fortune. For instance, Chelsea have already more than paid for Liam Delap just by playing in this tournament. If you remember, Chelsea paid Ipswich Town £30 million for Liam Delap. They've already made £36.5 million by playing in this Club World Cup. I've been doing the maths, and they have been paid up to £28 million just for turning up, just for playing. Chelsea got up to £28 million from FIFA. They also got £3 million for their 2 group stage wins, and they received another £5.5 million for getting out of the group and getting into the round of 16. Now, if they end up winning the Club World Cup on July the 13th, I think they stand to make £112 million, and that is so important in the era of FFP and PSR, because if Chelsea get to the quarterfinals, FIFA will give them another £9.5 million. If they get to the semi-finals, they'll get another £15 million. If they get to the final, they'll get another £22 million. And if they win the final, they'll get another £29 million. Add that all up together, it comes to $153 million, which at the moment is £112 million. Now, those figures are almost the same for Manchester City. If City do win the Club World Cup, I think they'll stand to make just a little bit more, because they've got one more group game to play. They've won both their group games so far, so they've banked £3 million for winning those 2 games, but they're playing Juventus. And if they beat Juventus, they'll get another £1.5 million. If they draw with Juventus, they'll get another £700,000. So, using my maths O-level, Chelsea, if they win it, will make £112 million. Manchester City, if they win it, will make either £113.5 million or £112.7 million.
Fantastic sums of money. Does everyone get included in this cash? And what about Auckland City? We saw them concede goal after goal after goal. Do they get a windfall as well?
Well, this is controversial because not all clubs get paid the same amount of money for turning up, the so-called participation fee. If you look at it, if you're a European club, you stand to make up to £28 million just for turning up, whereas South American clubs get £11 million for turning up, Asian clubs get £7 million, African clubs get £7 million, the Mexican and US clubs get £7 million, and Auckland City, well, they got £2.5 million for playing in this tournament. I know that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but Auckland City are a semi-professional side, and that kind of money, £2.5 million, will have a real impact on their finances, and also it will have an impact on the competition in their leagues. This is one thing that's been really controversial about this tournament, because, for instance, this money that's on offer to Chelsea and Manchester City, other clubs in the Premier League cannot get their hands on that money. So it's giving City and Chelsea a competitive advantage next season. And it's the same, for instance, in Africa. Mamelodi Sundowns, they will have got £9 million just for turning up. That is a huge sum of money in South African football, and that is going to cement their place as the best side in South Africa. But looking at these figures, it is controversial, and it's a little bit troubling when you look at it in black and white, that European clubs are getting up to £28 million for turning up, whereas Asian and African clubs are getting just 25% of that, £7 million.
Indeed. Carve, we've flown you all the way out there. You've done a lot of talking about money and also a lot of talking about weather. So, what sort of conditions are Manchester City going to get when they play tonight?
I've got to tell you, I'm more of an expert in money than weather matters, but I've been sort of taking a crash course on being a weatherman out here in the US. So I will do my best to fill you in on the latest weather information. Now, the good news for Manchester City in Orlando is that it won't be as hot here as it has been in other places during this tournament. For instance, Chelsea played in Philadelphia last night, where the temperatures, the heat index, that's what it feels like, was around 37 degrees, even though the game kicked off at 9 p.m. The game City are playing Juventus tomorrow here, that kicks off at 3 p.m. And we are being told at the moment that the temperature should be, I think, around 31 or 32 degrees. That is pretty cool compared to what Chelsea had to play in yesterday. But the heat is a real factor in this tournament. You've got to feel sorry for Borussia Dortmund, who again have to play in Cincinnati today. At the moment, Cincinnati feels like, with the heat index, it is 38 degrees. They're playing Ulsan HD. It is so hot that it is affecting some of their players. We saw in their previous group game in Cincinnati, their substitutes stayed in the dressing room where it was air conditioned during the game. They were watching the game on TV because it was too hot to sit in the substitutes bench. And it's affected one of their players, Jamie Gittins, who's been in the news a lot. Of course, Chelsea are trying to sign him. He won't be playing for Dortmund today because he is feeling sick. He's got a blocked up nose, he's got a dry throat, and according to his head coach, Niko Kovac, that's been caused by the fact that it's too hot outside and it's too cold inside their hotel with all the air conditioning. And Kovac thinks that the winner of this tournament will be the side who copes best with the heat.
Yeah, indeed. And while I've got you, Carve, I want to talk transfers. Paul Pogba, are we going to see him soon?
Yes, we will. Well, we'll see him back in Europe very soon, and we'll see him back playing very soon. He hasn't played for almost 2 years. He left Juventus back in November when his contract was terminated by mutual agreement. Since then, he's been out here in Florida, where he lives, where he's been training very hard. He's very close to agreeing a deal to sign for Monaco. He is making arrangements to fly to the south of France to have his medical and sign a 2-year contract. Potentially, this is a great move for Paul Pogba, because Monaco finished third last season in the French First Division. They're playing in the Champions League, and Paul Pogba really wants to get back in the France squad for the World Cup back here in the US next summer.